Hey listeners, this is Unlock the LSAT and you're listening to your host, The Key, once again. And today, we just recently had school release. I was a part of that batch who was eagerly looking forward to having a great result. But unfortunately, I already knew what was likely to come from it because I had to do a retake and the retakes were not at an ideal time in my situation. So I generally knew what would be the most likely result from it, and needless to say, that's it for now, unless I'm gonna wait another 5 years. So that's what today's episode is going to be about. It's gonna be about the time invested into LSAT. I recorded this before, and I made a joke that someone might as well give me an associate's degree in LSAT because I've been in hours after hours after hours of practicing and hours after hours of reviewing. When I did review or looking at questions that I've done, recording videos of me going through questions and going through the answers because I like that part of the process. I've spent so much time in the LSAT world, but now you have this one single number that's going to define my entire experience, and I just don't think it's fair. But we're going to be talking about the idea of this 5 times, because for me it is 7 times that I've done it, and I can't take it 2 more. But it has to be in about 5 years. I can't remember if I said that already in this recording. So that's really disappointing. If I could do it again, I would have. I was kind of under a time crunch too, so that really did kind of get in the way. So what's going on is I've noticed on Reddit, and this happens quite frequently, is that a lot of people also have been talking about this. I know people personally who have, been practicing and getting higher scores, but on the real thing, they're dropping several points. And some of them are even people who are seeing 170s on their practice tests. And beyond some 10-point score range, I think there's a little bit more going on there than just that. The test day experience truly is not the same as when you're practicing, and sometimes it's just not going to reflect what you're capable of. And that's 100% factual. It's not a myth. It really can impact you, especially depending on who you are as a person. So I'd invite people to, especially if you're paying out of pocket, limit yourself to coming back and back again for this experience if you generally don't have the money. Because when we see these things happen and you've spent money on this test for 5 times and you don't see that progress, that's a wasted investment. And we have people selling you this idea of maximizing those attempts, for the benefit of getting that higher score. But if you're seeing that high score on your practice test and you are scheduling it at the right time and you're taking it once, seeing it not there, taking it twice, and it's not there yet, but you have something decent, I don't think you should continue to do that unless you have the money to spend, because time is going, and unfortunately, I just keep seeing it. Some people, they are lucky. We see those lucky people posting on Reddit with their ideal scores, but a lot of the times, there's also that group of people who are generally not seeing that improvement that they've been seeing on their practices. I invite people to talk about this from truthfulness, not deceit, about seeing their prep test be a certain place and it's not being there on the real thing. I'd invite you perhaps to even screenshot your Law Hub, your genuine Law Hub. Don't make any adjustments through some Photoshop thing, but generally you can attach that within a file attachment for your applications. I haven't heard anyone say this before, but I do like to be able to prove that I'm telling someone the truth, especially when it comes to something like this. So it's just an idea. You can talk to school, see if there's something that they think is possible. If it's not, don't even worry about it. But I'm just free talking right now, and that sounds like something that would be authentic. And I think the other part of this thing is that people should not be settling for offers that don't fit their situation. If you know you can't afford to pay 20 grand in loans for a single semester or a single law school year after your discount, don't do it. Respectfully let them know this offer is not good enough for me. And the more people we have doing this, the more likely we are to see transformations happen. Because what's likely to happen is we have these people who don't have the 170 refusing to be the people funding those higher scores to be able to go to law school in some of these instances. And then we also have the instance of everything just completely shifting over to people who are really just either getting their 160s or their 170s. And if you have people with those ridiculous lower scores in the 130s and the low 140s, then you really separate yourself from ending up in those financially tedious situations because you set a higher standard, and then the schools won't have any choice but to change how they're doing things, to change how they're charging for school. And that is revolutionary, I think. So what I'd recommend is it's okay to invest this time into studying the test, but you should put a cap on it. And that would be more beneficial than being strung along in a way by trying to reach some goal that you think will be perfect to set you up for a full ride. Because I've literally spoken to schools, and this one top school, when I told them like, oh, if I get this specific score, am I likely to get 100, like a full ride? And I know people talk about the negotiating process, but that person at that specific time said that's not necessarily going to be guaranteed. And then I thought about it, I was like, wow, to imagine that I like the school and I'm shooting for a top score, and even if I get that top score, they are telling me concretely that it is not anywhere near guaranteed that I'll be getting a full ride. That's something. You really have to talk with the schools. Personally, I don't think that you should spend too much money on applications, especially if you're under the 170s. You have no business applying broadly like that because the medians are rising. I spoke to a school today and I'm above their 75th percentile. Or actually, I spoke to them yesterday. I'm above their 75th percentile, and I spoke to someone from the admissions office, And I know they're not supposed to give guidance to you too much, but she gave me this tip that having a 160 plus would put me in a much better position to get 90% to 100% full scholarship. And I understand that they want their medians to grow, but they're still lower tier school. And I believe that I deserve a full ride because I'm above their 75th percentile already in terms of my LSAT. So I thought, wow, that's really interesting. But we have to have people being stubborn and refusing to take out loans when the school can give them more money, if not full rides. And if schools aren't giving you enough, you shouldn't go. Just don't even go. And then things will begin to change. Let your dollar speak for you. Okay guys, that's going to be the end of this episode. Stay tuned for my next one coming up soon. Bye.